And welcome back to the Financially Simple Experience. Friends, today we're going to deal with yet another blind spot. And I got to tell you, this blind spot is one that I see pretty common for us business owners. This blind spot is one that if we're not aware of, it just creeps up on us. And it can cost us a lot of time, a lot of money, and give us much frustration. The blind spot is the relationship between sales and marketing. Sales and marketing. I often deal with sales and marketing because in many businesses, whether they're small, under $10 million in revenue, or even the $100 to $300 million of revenue businesses, often don't see the relationship between sales and marketing. You see, what often could happen is the marketing team doesn't understand the sales process, or vice versa. The sales team doesn't understand truly what marketing is putting forth. And because of this dichotomy, because of this friction, it puts a lot of misconceptions surrounding the relationship between sales and marketing. And if you as an owner or a board of directors don't understand this relationship, then a lot of resources are wasted, both hard dollars and human capital. So let's dive into this particular relationship. Before we do, though, we have to understand what specifically is marketing and what specifically is sales. Well, Investopedia describes marketing as activities a company undertakes to promote the buying or selling of a product or service and includes advertising, selling, and delivering products to customers or other businesses. The way I describe marketing in my simple terms is, what are you telling people you have? Whether that's a product or a service, what are you conveying to the general public or to your client base? That is marketing. On the other hand, sales is the exchange of a product or service for money. It involves helping prospective clients or customers by listening to them and understanding truly what their needs are, and then providing a solution for those customers. Again, in my simple terms, marketing brings people to the opportunity to say yes or no. We don't want a maybe. Maybe is never a good thing, but we want our potential customers to say yes. Yes, I want to exchange my dollars or my resources for your product or for your service. Or no, I'm not interested. I got to tell you, when it comes to sales, a yes or a no is a win. You don't want a maybe. You never want a maybe. A maybe is a drag on our system. But here's what's interesting. Despite the close relationship, each one of these areas, both sales and marketing, hold a vital position in your business. You have to have both. I've worked with so many business owners who are startups. I myself have started 6 businesses, and just working in the startup space, we as the entrepreneur, we know the service or the product that we want to sell. And so we go out and we use this guerrilla style marketing. There was a really cool book written years ago called Guerrilla Marketing, but we use this guerrilla style marketing where anybody that can fog a mirror, we just know they have to buy our product and service. As our businesses mature, that doesn't work. It doesn't work as effectively. It's not able to scale to the point that we're driving maximum value in our companies. So we've got to understand there's these two different words have different positions within our company. Let's talk about sales first. I can remember as a child, and I'm going to date myself a little bit. I can remember as a child, my mom and dad buying a rainbow vacuum cleaner from the Rainbow sales guy who went door to door in our little town of South Georgia. The reason why it was a sales pitch is because my brother was dealing with very, very, very severe asthma as a child, very severe. And the Rainbow vacuum cleaner would take would suck up the dirt or the debris or the air contaminants, and it would push it into water versus into a bag. And that was a big selling point, especially for my mom in the medical field, back when my brother was dealing with this very life-threatening asthma. But we would never have known about this Rainbow vacuum cleaner until the Rainbow salesperson came door to door selling vacuum cleaners. Or how about this? Do you remember, perhaps you're my age, a little older, do you remember Encyclopedia Britannica? The entire collection? I can't tell you how many weekends I sat looking through the Encyclopedia Britannica, looking at the pictures. looking at things all around the world. I love the Africa pictures. In fact, my family and I were even talking about an Africa safari sometime in the very near future. And I remember as a child being fascinated with elephants and crocodiles. I mean, we grew up around alligators, and these crocodiles make alligators look like lizards. I mean, they are huge. We would not have bought the Encyclopedia Britannica but for the encyclopedia salesperson going door to door. Sales have morphed, though. We don't have many door-to-door sales anymore. In fact, if you're like me, you probably have a sign that says no solicit, or maybe big guard dogs, and you live in the country where if somebody comes knocking on your door, they've lost their mind. We don't have many door-to-door sales anymore. So what is today's sales department? What are they tasked to do? Well, the first thing they do is they convert qualified prospects into satisfied customers. Notice the wording there. They convert qualified prospects. So if marketing is done right, marketing is bringing the right candidate, the right avatar, the right persona to your business, and they're qualified. They are able to make the purchase. And the sales department is simply taking this person who's intrigued in your offering and getting them to say yes or no. They're trying to maximize the profits by converting as efficiently as possible. They're trying to get a prospect to a satisfied customer. That's the first operational point of a sales department. The next thing they do is they grow the business through a long-term relationship methodology. You know, so many times in business, especially as we get bigger and bigger, we lose that hometown feel. I was telling a leadership team this last week of a middle-sized business that, people do business with people. They're not going to do business with your company unless you're like an Amazon or an Apple, and now you're competing on price. But for most business owners, people do business with us because they know us. They know our values. They know our ethics. They know what we want to accomplish in life. They know where we're headed. And vice versa, we know them. We know our clients. We know our customers. We know what's near and dear to their hearts. I can't tell you, friends, how many times in my business a customer's going through a hard time and my wife and I are up praying for them at night, sending them words of encouragement, bringing them meals, because that's what we do as humans. That's what we do as humans. We create these long-term relationships. We're made for relationships. And people do business with people who are interested in long-term relationships. That's the second thing your sales department does. And then the third thing they do is they deal with the maintenance of customer satisfaction. Even though we have good relationships with clients, sometimes things go awry. Whether it's life circumstance, products, economy, something's going to get a little cattywampus, as my father would say, a little cattywampus from what we desire to offer and what the customer wants. And there's a little bit of a satisfaction dip. The sales teams, their job is to ensure customer satisfaction. The sales team has a mission of converting a prospect into a long-term happy client or customer. That's the sales team's role. Okay, well, we got that. What about the marketing team? Your marketing team is trying to streamline out of the millions upon millions of possible buyers down to that perfect customer, that qualified customer. So when the sales team speaks with this customer, they know, hey, this individual is qualified to buy our service. They have the money, they have the resources, they have the desire. They want our service. They see the need for our service or product. So the marketing team is trying to, through a series of mechanisms, weed out tire kickers. They're trying to weed out those who would waste the sales team's time. Now, how do they do that? They do it through a lot of different ways. So while they're trying to identify this perfect customer, they have to know market research. They have to know, where is the perfect customer? How do they think? Where do they shop? They have to use real-world data. What are they connected to? What drives this customer to make action? What is their methodology of thinking? This is the marketing team's role. And in their tool belt, they have a lot of different things they could use. You know, most of the time we would say, well, social media. Yes, that is one tool within the tool belt, as is a website, a podcast, a vlog or a video blog, a blog, for example, media, advertising, print, pay-per-click, billboards, video, television, radio, and the list can continue for a myriad of different tools that the marketing team can use. So they're trying to identify the perfect customer, and they do so by analyzing market research. And then what the marketing team does next is vital. And this is where so many non-marketing professionals miss it. This is where so many business owners miss it right here. The marketing team's primary function is to shape potential customers' perception of the brand. It's to shape how they view the brand. It's to take the brand and couch it in a positive light. I grew up in South Georgia, as I've mentioned many, many times on the episode throughout the years. And in Georgia, we have this company that you might have heard of called Coca-Cola. I've talked about how Asa Chandler purchased Coca-Cola. Asa Chandler and Pemberton dealt with the purchase of Coca-Cola. But one thing that was interesting to me on Coca-Cola is the nostalgic memories I have. I can remember sitting on the back of a pickup truck tailgate with my father and my mother as we were building our first house together. I was 10, 12 years old. It's hot, a hot July summer day in South Georgia, probably 105 degrees, knowing the weather down there, sticky. I mean, everything on your body was soaked with sweat. And I can remember my dad opening that old Coleman metal cooler in the 1980s and pulling out iced down Coca-Cola. I can remember it like it was yesterday. I can still taste that Coca-Cola going across my lips. I mean, unless you've ever been in a moment like that, you're missing it. And those of you who have, you're like, dude, I can taste ice cold Coca-Cola right now. In fact, I think I might get me one after this particular episode. What was interesting, though, is 1985, something very unique happened. Coca-Cola released a rebranded deviation of its classic Coke formula. They changed the recipe. The marketing team tried to manage it, but what happened is it was a disastrous rollout. It ended up having video of the public being severely outraged and throwing Coca-Cola into sewer systems. Very similar, if you might imagine, as the early settlers of the United States, the colonials, throwing the tea into the Boston Harbor, almost like a modern-day Boston Tea Party. You see, what's interesting about marketing is there to shape perception. What marketing had done so well with Coca-Cola is they had shaped that nostalgic moment that I've had multiple times in my life, and I'm sure that you've had multiple times in your life. And whenever the narrative changed, the marketing team had done such a good job for Coca-Cola that it was able to immediately rectify the situation and move forward. The marketing team will also produce and distribute multiple materials. In the business that I operate in, the financial services business, there's not a lot of visual effects. I often tell my brother, who builds unbelievable swimming pools in the islands of Georgia, Sea Island, St. Simons, and down near Savannah, Georgia, Jacksonville, Florida. He builds some amazing pools. I'm talking, high six-figure, low seven-figure swimming pools, things that have been highlighted on like HGTV and various things of that nature. Just an amazing artist. And I tell him often, I'm so envious of the fact that he can take a picture of dirt, do his job, and afterward there's a visual, beautiful masterpiece. In my world, that's not the case. In my world, it's mostly subjective. I can't show people how business owners succeed. I can't show them the actual data. I wish I could. I wish I could show, hey, this is where this particular client started and here's where they're at today. But that's not the world I operate in. What is paramount for my style of business, and perhaps yours, is that the marketing team can create collateral, data points that's able to convey the message of what you do, what we do as a company, for the consumer to understand. It's one thing to walk out and see a piece of dirt than see a beautiful swimming pool. It's another thing to try to sell the intangible. The marketing team does that. So now let's talk about how they work together. How do they work together? As you're conducting your strategic plan, oftentimes I'll see business owners try to separate the departments. They'll have the finance department work on their strategic plan, and the operations team work on their strategic plan, and the HR team, the human resources, work on their strategic plan. The reality is that all 8 facets of your business, and the reason why I say 8 is because of the 8 topics that I cover in my book, Your Baby's Ugly. All 8 areas of your business must cross-collaborate. See, your sales team has to work closely with your marketing team. The marketing team needs feedback. They need to know the processes to which are going to be. The marketing team needs to know the processes to which the sales teams are going to follow so they can set the customer expectations properly. However, the marketing team also needs to know the results of the meeting to see where they may have missed the mark in their collateral, in their marketing language, and then vice versa. The sales team needs to understand specifically what the marketing team is marketing. That way they can reinforce, that way they know the state of mind to which the prospective customer is engaging the business. You see, they have to work in tandem. They have to work in unison. I'm reminded of a clock my dad had. It was a pocket watch. And in this particular pocket watch, you could see the cogs behind the minute and the hour hands moving. And as you watch these cogs move, you realize the precision to which this watch was created. It was unbelievable. The same is true with your sales and marketing team. They have to act as cogs on the wheel, especially as you're doing strategic planning. You have to include the two of them together. To disconnect them means you're going to lose inefficiency. Another thing that you want to think about is this. It's about margin, not volume. Margin. I was talking with a long-term client of ours this week. One of our business advisors was unavailable. They were sick, and they'd asked me to fill in this particular client. And I hadn't seen this client in probably 3-4 years now. Hadn't seen any of the finances. Obviously, I'd seen him on a casual basis, but not on a professional basis. And so I was filling in for a couple of meetings this week, and I love still getting engaged with clients as they continue to drive for their dreams. I can remember in this particular business started up, I helped them for years. And as I was looking at the finances this particular meeting and the data points that we've asked this individual to provide to us, I was noticing capacity issues. They can't see any more patients. This is an entrepreneurial doctor. They can't see any more patients. And so I was walking through this timeline in my head, and I finally just stopped and looked at the client, and I said, how do you increase margin? How do you increase your margin? And they looked at me, and in that moment, they realized there was no more volume they could push. Now they could go out and buy a new building. They could hire new doctors and set up a 24-hour, 7 days a week clinic. It probably wouldn't be as efficient. In this particular locale, based on the bigger picture, there wasn't any room for more volume. So how do we increase margin? As we began thinking about the sales and marketing and how they work together, it came to the point that they were going to have to get more specific in their marketing and not take on as many customers. Instead, they were going to have to limit their flow and increase their price point. And that would allow the volume to stay the same, but allow them to increase the margins of their business to move forward into the next chapter of their business. You see, oftentimes business owners want to see tons of customers come through the door. We all want that. We can remember what it was like to be broke. Just like it was yesterday. We can remember what it was like to wonder who is our next customer. How are we going to pay our employees? How are we going to make the rent? We remember it. And in this motivating fear that we can remember almost nostalgically like it was yesterday, we missed the bigger point. The bigger point is margin matters more than volume. This is what the sales and marketing team working together can bring. Another thing is it makes sure that the message is congruent. What the marketing team is saying, the sales team is saying. What the sales team is saying, the marketing team is saying. They're working together in a cohesive company, in a cohesive team to carry out what's in the best interest of the customer. Just imagine, I use this illustration often because we're in SEC country, the Southeastern Conference of Football, which go Dogs, by the way. Imagine if the running back and the quarterback and the wide receivers, plural, were running different plays. They probably would be tackled for a down. They probably would not make any offensive progress in the game. The same is true in your business. If your marketing and your sales are not aligned, if they're speaking disjointedly, you're not going to have efficiency. And finally, the marketing and sales team, by integrating them together, you can be intentional. You can be intentional. You see, you as a business owner, you can set out intentional goals for the team. You may say, look, we want to increase our newsletter sign up by 10% over the next 3 quarters. That's an intentional mission. And now the sales and the marketing can work together to reach that goal. I gave our directive to our sales and our marketing team with WellSource on we need to solidify the product offering because there's a disjointedness right now, even amongst the company that I'm working with. And it happens all the time, friends. It's not like I set it and forget it. So it's not that anybody's doing anything wrong. Even in your company, it's not that anybody does anything wrong. It's that as business grows, things get awry and we have to constantly work on the business rather than in the business. So by linking the sales and marketing teams together, you can have them be intentional. Friends, sales and marketing are like a hand in a glove. They're like pepperoni and pizza. They're like peanut butter and bananas. Yeah, you thought I was going to say jelly, didn't you? Yeah, peanut butter bananas. My dad introduced me to that sandwich years ago, and it's one of my favorites. Like, dude, gross. Yeah, if you want to make it really good, as I'm signing off in this episode, get you some of that marshmallow whip. And put you some peanut butter, bananas, and marshmallow whip on a piece of toasted bread. Son, your tongue will want to smack your brains out. It is that good. No, marketing and sales is like peanut butter and jelly. It really is. It's like pickled okra and an RC Cola and a redneck on a summer day. That's what it's like. Let me ask you the question. Have you unified your sales and marketing? Do you know how to do it? Do you know how to bring your sales and marketing fruition? If not, there are many resources available for you on the Financially Simple Experience. If you need one-on-one coaching, let us know. We have coaches who can help you. Until next time, friends, this is hard. This is hard. We're working on our business right now, and it's hard to offset these blind spots that attack us on a daily basis. But it's fun. What a blessing we all have. Man, we're such a blessed people that we have the opportunity to serve our customers, our employees, our family, our friends. We have an opportunity to serve others. How blessed we are. And yeah, it can get frustrating. It can. We've all been there. I've been frustrated a lot over the last years in business. It's like a roller coaster, isn't it? Look, friends, I know life is hard, but it's good. And it can get frustrating, but it doesn't have to. Let's continue to make our lives at least financially simple. Hey, y'all go out and make it a great day.